Hello, second graders. So I made a little slide presentation, little slideshow about science, and it is forces make things move.
Unknown caller.
And got a phone call. All right, so forces make things move, push and pull. So this is an introduction to our new science unit about simple machines. So I would like you to think about machines. Now, usually when we think about machines, we think about things with motors, things with lots of parts like engines and things like that. So when we think about machines, we usually think about things with motors like cars, lawnmowers, vacuum cleaners, drills and tools and things like that. And we know that machines are things that help people do work. So machines are things that help make work easier. Machines are things that help people do work. They help us. And so again, we kind of think of machines as having lots of parts and motors and engines and kind of complex things like that. But we can also think of some machines that don't have motors. We don't often think of these as machines, but they are, in fact, simple machines. Those are things without motors and engines. Some examples of those would be like a wheelbarrow would be a machine that doesn't have a motor, a scissors, a broom. Miss Taylor can scoot myself out of the, whoa, there I am. All right, so some things that don't have motors. We can start thinking about, so things that help people do work that don't have motors and engines and all kinds of parts are called simple machines. So before we really start learning about simple machines, we're going to take a step back and learn about what do we mean by helping people do work? What does it mean by work? So let's see if I can advance the slide here. There we go. Okay, so simple machines. This is from a story by D.J. Ward. So I'm going to read just a few pages from this story. Have you ever had to move something really heavy? How did you do it? There's a big heavy box of toys there. Did you grab it from underneath and lift with all your might? Did you lean your shoulder into it and push? Did you tie a rope to it and pull, pull, pull? Or did you use a machine? With a machine, you don't have to lift or push or pull so hard. Machines make work easier. Here, try this. Thanks, Dad. Right, so they're using this kind of a little machine, sort of a little trolley, to help move this heavy box of toys. That's why machines are everywhere. Look around your neighborhood. We use machines to help us get around. Machines help us dig and build and knock things down. They help us reach way up high. Cars, bulldozers, and lawnmowers are machines with lots of moving parts. But not all machines are so complicated. Some are so simple that you might not even think of them as machines. Beep, beep. They are called simple machines. All right, so, and here, again, this is just kind of an introduction to some simple machines here. Let me scoop myself out of the picture. Whoa. So we have a lever is a kind of simple machine, wheel and axle, pulley, ramp. This is also known as an inclined plane, wedge, and a screw. So again, before we kind of get into our study of simple machines, the first one that we're really going to look at is the ramp, which is called an inclined plane. Has one end higher than the other, like that, okay? But before we get into that, we have to think about, well, what do we mean by work? So if machines, all these simple machines, make work easier, what do we mean by work? Well, in science, we use this definition of the word work. Work is done when a force is used to move something over a distance. So work has to do with two things. There's some kind of a force, and something is moving over a distance. In other words, moving from one point to another. So what do we mean by force? So we said that work is done when a force is used to move something over a distance. Well, let's think about that word force. A force is a push or a pull used to make something move or move differently. So when I am thinking of the word force, I like to do some actions to help me remember. So I like to say a force is a push or a pull used to make something move or move differently. And that would be like if someone were kicking a ball and then I put my foot out to stop the ball, and then my force would make that moving ball move differently and move in like a different direction or something. So basically a force is a push or a pull. So in science, when we are talking about simple machines that make work easier, and work has to do with a force. So some kind of pushing or pulling. And that's often what simple machines help us with. So I'm going to read a little bit from this book. It's called Forces Make Things Move by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley, illustrated by Paul Measle. All right, so there we have a little machine. It's a little car. I'm going to scoop myself out of the picture again here. If you push a toy car, you can make it move across the floor. Your push moves the car. Your push is a force. Forces get things moving. Forces also make things stop. When the toy car rolls across the floor and stops, a force stopped it. Forces also make things speed up or slow down. Any push or pull is a force. Forces can move things farther away or bring them closer. Some forces are very strong. Some are so weak you can't feel them at all. Nothing starts moving until it is pushed or pulled. If you don't push your toy car, it just sits there unless something else pushes it, like the wind or your cat or your big brother. I like the cat. My cat does that, pushes stuff off the table. It's kind of funny. Let's see. The wind, your cat, and your big brother can all produce force. The force moves your car. Anytime your car is moving, a force made it start. The heavier an object is, the more force it takes to start it moving. If you want to run across the yard, your feet have to push on the ground to get you moving. If you and your big brother decide to have a race, his feet will have to push harder on the ground than yours. Why? Because he weighs more. It takes more force to make him move. So things with more weight require more force, more pushing or pulling. Once you are running, only another force can stop you. Your feet push on the ground to make you stop. If you want to stop quickly, it takes more force than if you want to stop slowly. You'll have to push harder. It takes a lot of force to start heavy things moving. That's why your living room couch doesn't fly across the room when you bump into it. That would be funny. It's why a breeze can't blow your family's car off the driveway. Other things, like leaves and papers and hats, don't weigh very much. Even tiny forces can make them fly around. A little wind makes enough force to make them move. So there's some wind in the picture moving this kite because the kite is not very heavy. So you could think about, the wind. Is the wind a force of push or pull? Maybe both. But if your big brother is lying on the living room couch, you're going to have to push pretty hard to force him off. Whenever you push something, it pushes back against you. If you push a toy car, it pushes back against you with the exact same force. If you push harder, hi, I'm making a video, honey. Do you want to say hi? You want a piece of gum. How about after my video? Okay. If you push a toy car, it pushes against you with the exact same force. If you push harder, the toy car pushes back harder. This can be difficult to understand, but it's true. The force you put on the car is always the same as the force the car puts on you. If you push the toy car, your force makes the car start moving. So if the toy car is also pushing you, why don't you start moving? Because you are much heavier than the toy car. Remember, it takes more force to move heavy things. The force that can move a toy car can move you. Since it takes such a small amount of force to move the toy car, and the toy car puts only that much force on you, the force is too small for you to feel. Who pushes harder? So are you pushing harder, or is the car pushing back? If you push your family's real car parked in your driveway, it pushes back too. Just like your toy car, the real car pushes back with the same amount of force as you put on it. If you push the real car gently, it pushes back gently. If you push harder, you can feel it push back harder. So it's kind of always these two forces happening. And there's the brother, ha ha ha, and the cat. You can't produce enough force to move the real car. Neither can your big brother. Who's laughing now? Sometimes you can see what is pushing or pulling, and sometimes you can't. If you roll your toy car and it hits a wall or the couch, you can see that the wall or the couch stops the car. The wall and the couch produce force. If the car hits your big brother, you'd better run. Oh, there it is. It's going to bonk him in the head. Bonk. All right, so thinking about the forces of push and pull. So again, a force is a push or a pull used to make something move or make something move differently. So I'd like you to think about these activities. To do them, are you using the force of push or the force of pull? How about flicking a coin or a marble? Jumping rope. So maybe you could stand up and try to do each of these activities and think about, am I pushing or am I pulling or both? Playing on a seesaw. Using a wagon. Picturing a little red wagon. Putting some things in there, pulling them. Picking up a kitten. Oh, you want to see my cat? I'm going to go pick up my cat. This is Bob. Say hi, Bob. She was sleeping. I just picked her up. I used the force of pull. Hi, kitty kitty. This is Bob. She's got white paws. Okay, say bye. Opening a door. Sometimes when you open a door, you kind of pull on it. Sometimes when you open a door, like those doors that go this way, sometimes you push as you go through the door. So think about those activities. Do they have to do with pushing or pulling? What about blowing a bubble? Or like if you're chewing gum, my son just came and asked for a piece of gum. We get those for little treats sometimes. But if you have some bubble gum and you're blowing a bubble, seems like you're kind of pushing. Throwing a ball. I'm kind of pulling my arm back and then I'm pushing it forward. Mowing the lawn. Surfing. Taylor has never tried that. Drinking from a straw. Or a bird getting a worm from the ground. Alrighty. So let's see. I think that is the end of our little slideshow here. Yeah. So I just wanted you to think about, whoops, what are we doing here? Think about these forces of push and pull. So as we start learning about simple machines, we know that simple machines make work easier. And so before we kind of start learning about all these different machines that help people do work, we have to kind of think about, well, what do we mean by work? And so again, work is a force that moves something over a distance. So I would like you for today to start thinking about these forces of push and pull. And maybe as you walk around your house, you could think about, what am I doing that's using push or pull? And usually those push or pull activities would be in science defined as work. So think about the work that you're doing today, the forces of push and pull, and then think about, are there any simple machines that I'm using to help me do work? All right. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching my video about forces.